Today's Dragon Priest, and even though I've started in the wrong spot, we'll have a quick look at the deck list today. I'll pull that one up real quick too. Not that I'm running anything super unique, although I'm sure it's different than what's probably like the best on Hearthstone. Eventually, is the Paladin from yesterday. Computer's been having some struggles recently. It is getting to be a little bit old now. Even though it was top of the line back then, it is going on 4.5 years, which is, a long time in computers. So, yeah, we just have a handful of tech cards in this. We have one Loot Hoarder to give us a couple of other early game options. We're not as worried about that for the Inzoth purposes. A couple of Harvest Golems, which I'm sure a lot of people aren't running in these decks, but I happen to like in that spot because, again, we're looking for things to play on turn 2 and turn 3. Peacekeepers aren't really meant for that spot. You can. Pyromancer's not really meant for that spot, and we have one of those to pair with Equality. One Forbidden Healing because I only have the one. It's a golden one, though. Ooh. A Swamp Ooze because there are weapons everywhere. You don't see a ton of mid-range Shaman at rank 20, but when you do, they always have Spirit Claws. And that's in addition to the Warriors and all the usual stuff. And then the rest of it's relatively standard. 2 True Silvers because we're a Paladin, 2 Consecrations because we're a Paladin. A Barnes to do the same thing that happened to us in the first game we played yesterday. Pull out all sorts of fun things. A Cairn is great. A Sylvanas is pretty good. A Tyrion's great. A Ragnaros is great, etc. And you saw a lot of the other cards in here. We have one Azure Drake just to fill up the 5 spot a bit. Give us a little bit of card draw. And the bottom end just makes sense. We're looking for all the stuff that's going to give Death Rattle. So we have a Tyrion. And we have a Sylvanas. And we have a Cairn. Basically, we have 6 minions in here that are Death Rattle. And that's how you fill a board, if you happen to play all of them. Again, generally you're trying not to do that, but maybe your Inzoth is buried and you can't play it till you've played your Death Rattle minions. It's hard to say. And then today's deck, the Dragon Priest. Nothing terribly non-standard in here, and Dragon Priest looks like it's getting buffed in this expansion that comes out early next month. There are a couple of cards in particular that are going to make Priest hopefully be off the bottom of the barrel now, but Dragon Priest is pretty viable. If you're going to play a Priest, this is kind of the way to go. So what's in here? Well, we use the early game to give Priest the minions it desperately needs to play on turn 1 and turn 2. We get a 2-3 essentially for 1, as long as we're in the right spot. And we have a lot of dragons in the deck. And then you get a 2-4 for 2. And those are all pretty solid. Beyond that, some other keys here. We have Bran, because a lot of our minions have Battle Cry, some of which are stronger than others. Battle Cry makes this, a 2-5 for 1, which is good. But where Battle Cry really shines is an example like this, where you play the Netherspite Historian and you get 2 dragons out of it. These dragons are very frequently legendaries because that's what a lot of dragons are. So you can pull a second Ysera, or a Deathwing, or a Chill Maw, which I don't happen to have, but I can pull from this and then have it at my disposal for aggro decks. Down below, we're just running a lot of the standard stuff for Priest for control. We're running 2 Shadow Word Pains because it has a lot of potential value. 2 Shadow Word Deaths. I'm sure some people would only run 1 Pain, but that's fine. We're all about 2. A couple of Power Word Shields because we're looking to have board control, and our presence means we can heal up and have a lot of big minions with good health. And it's card draw. 2 Blackwing Technicians so that they're 3/5s for 3 pretty often. Twilight Drakes, which I'm sure some people wouldn't run, but if our early game is slow, we're often playing these as like 4/6s or 4/7s, which is tough to match in that spot. And it's a Dragon Activator for our early game if we do have the good early game cards. A couple of Azure Drakes because they're dragons and they're super good. The Blackwing Corruptor, also super good stats and a good effect. 1 Holy Nova. 2 Bookworms. I'm sure, again, some people might only run 1. I find there's a lot of good targets for this. It's good value. Even the 3/6 body is pretty solid. And again, it's a Dragon Activator to keep in our hand. A couple of Entombs because we're Priests and we're Jerks. A Chromagus, which is different. And oftentimes, I'm looking to actually keep one of my power words until we can play Chromagus to get at least some immediate value out of it. And then a Ysera. I have Alexstrasza. I don't run it in this deck. I just feel like the times where Alexstrasza is super useful are pretty rare. We should be having an early advantage in health because of the board control that we can make. And in the late game, it's just not really worth the healing because you're not very often getting to a point where you can heal back to 15 and have it mean a lot. Maybe it heals like 4 to 6, but most of the time you don't get left with 2 HP and then go, oh cool, I can Alexstrasza, thank God. Hearthstone deck tracker to put the overlays on here. Everything's been running so sluggishly lately that that hasn't happened. I'm also on lower settings too. That's the sad part. We're running a tiny bit slow, And I'm not on high anymore.
Anduin versus Gul'dan.
Probably need to reinstall my DirectX drivers and some other stuff, but been busy, haven't had the time to sit down and put aside a project like that. We mulligan pretty hard for our early game with this deck. Okay, another spice, not bad. Wouldn't have minded a slightly different opening than that, but that does fill in pretty nicely. And this is where the Drake comes in handy. We have both of our 2 and 3 plays ready to activate. I would imagine we're playing against Zoo here, but we'll see. Could be a discard, too. No, looking like Zoo.
Once upon a time.
This is the other reason the Twilight Drakes can be pretty strong in this deck, by the way. If you're able to pull dragons off of that turn 2 play, then you're really just filling your hand with more cards. So like right now, our Drake is looking to be maybe a 4/6 or something in that range.
Do I have to?
We're really looking for Darkshire Councilman, by the way, as a target for this. That's phenomenal for us.
My work is paramount. Leave me alone.
A little sad to see the 1/2 get the health boost there. Means we can't kill it, but eh.
Stop yelling!
Yelling! Another good target for Bookworm. Obviously, we're a little bit away from being able to do that, but... Since we have Chromagus in hand, we're not worried about playing the Drake. And the Bookworm, too. We have a couple Dragon activators. It's an important thing, too. I have seen people who are newer to this game try and play a deck like this, and they play out their dragons and they go, oh, like, 8 cards in this deck need a dragon in hand to activate. What have we done? You know, I don't feel like Holy Nova is a terrible play here. I think it's fine. It's a good clear. We heal up our 3/2. Gets rid of the Blood Imp. That's annoying. I feel like we're in really good shape. Especially because we can just outright kill whatever he plays here. Yeah, like that's going to die, and that's going to put us in a stranglehold of this game. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see it concede. Zoo can't really play from behind like this. It's really not intended to fall behind in the first place, but we have a strong early game with this deck. In fact, that's kind of what I like about Dragon Priest, is it gives you some options for both early game, late game, like there's a whole bunch of stuff. I wonder if I'm just killing the Knife Juggler here. Only 10 damage, can't get to lethal. But, I mean... Because I'm not sure how he stays alive. Can't life tap. Can't really trade effectively. Sure, he can have power overwhelmings and stuff like that. Abusive Sergeants. Shadow Flames.
Shields up.
But I don't think any of that's going to matter here. And even so, all those resources are going to have to be spent staying alive.
Bring me steel.
The only downside of this is that 3/2 would have been lovely to kill with a Bookworm, but that's okay. Sadly, we can't kill. Oh, okay. We were going to Azure Drake and see if we could pull something, but never mind. Actually, we would have just Chromagus there. Would have just said, okay, play comeback. We didn't even have some of our early taunters, which are another great way to shut down Zoo in that spot. One more. We're not going for short videos this week. We're going to get a couple games in and not put up 7-minute videos because we're better than... I just like this deck quite a bit.
Anduin versus Geralt.
Has some fun little combos that go together, and even though some of the combos are really just, you know,
The light shall bring
oh look,
victory.
I have a dragon, so I get to do this. Still, it feels like a combo. Mmm. Those are 3 great cards, except we need to pull a dragon here. Nope. Well, we have all of the great things that activate off of dragons. The problem is we don't have one.
Made to fit.
Also not particularly useful. We could try and play one of them here anyways, but just not worth it. And there's a lot of dragons in the deck, so hopefully we can just pull one and then get things started. There we go.
My work is paramount. Leave me alone.
And this does mean we're a little less likely to play the Drake next turn, because then we're in the same situation without an activator.
Let the pain speak to me.
Well, I mean, we could also just play our 2/2 drops, but I kind of like this better. Another thing we have to be cognizant of in this matchup, of course, is Brawl. We're not going to want to build too huge of a board only to have it get undermined. I'd love to see an execute. You can execute, that's fine. You're gonna wish you had that later, but it's fine. Gotta protect that armor smith, right? Alright, let's start with this.
Once upon a time.
I think this is too tasty not to. Now, I think we'll do this.
Stop distracting me.
Could heal ourselves, but let's keep the 3/5 healthy. Now with Ysera in hand, we can start looking to play the Drake if we want to. We have options. Wouldn't be surprised to see a slam here. Slam. I don't know why I would attack the 1/3. That's weird. The other execute? Okay. So yeah, we have a great answer for that. Oh. That's right, we'll save that for later.
I wield the power.
Plot twist. Yay. This is a decent board. Gotta break stuff, though. There you go. Don't they just always have the Fiery War Axe? Oh, that's a good pull for us. We could play the little dragon here, but why? Just take his armor away and heal up a bit, a smidge. So we've already seen one of the Ravaging Ghouls. It's going to make it a little bit harder to get this Fiery War Axe to trade into one of these minions. We could still see a Whirlwind. There's another Ghoul. Could see a Cruel Taskmaster or some such. Ah, the dream is real. The 7/7 from heaven. Without even having the overload. Well, I think we just kill that now. I was going to consider entombing it, but why?
I wield the power. Black. Death to the brave.
That's one of those situations where, you know, if I were more on tilt, I'd be like, what? Come on! But it is one of those spots where the RNG of Hearthstone, I'm sure, makes players feel bad. In the same way that, you know, summoning a random 2-cost minion having to be a Doomsayer and wipe your board is like... Do the Taskmaster. I know he's in there. Oh, it's the Whirlwind. And the Execute? Oh, if it's the Execute, you're really not going to like the double Ysera play that's coming. Oh, you're really not going to enjoy that.
I dream and the world trembles.
Nightmare. Alright, so both Executes are gone.
I can wait no longer.
He can clear it off. Only downside for him is I'm going to go ahead and just take that. Thanks. Should have played that first. Would have been a 4-9. That's my fault. Ah, yes. The old Raging Worgen.
Speak to me.
Doesn't really work the same anymore.
Thirsty.
Let's see. We'll just kill the Worgen. Bookworm the 2/4 out of existence. We do have Shadow Madness here too, which is kind of fun. But I don't think have a great way to use it. So I think we'll just do this.
Let reading dragons lie.
That. Do this. And pass the turn. No need to get crazy. And we're going to keep putting him in weird spots if we only ever have 2 or 3 minions, because then how are you going to brawl?
My blade be thirsty.
Back to work.
I mean, all this is nice, but see, we stopped a lot of this from happening by taking out the one from last turn, because now this one still has the summoning sickness and can't do anything.
I choose death.
Yeah, that's probably better, because this was going to get worse and worse for you. Hey! I suppose that can be a little bit tilting sometimes when you play Control. Sorry, no voice. Long week with election. Works at a newspaper, let me tell you. When you're playing a Control deck and you just sit there and you deal with all their early game stuff and they throw everything at you and blah, 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 and then you bleed them out and they just quit. You're like, but it was my turn to do stuff. That's not fair. Normally I would go ahead and buy a pack or two and open them on stream just to see what happens, but I'm saving it for the expansion. It's in less than a month. So that's it for this week. Next week we will hopefully have Kingdom Hearts 2, assuming we can sit down with Michelle while she's in town. And that should be interesting. We haven't played that in a while, but it is a game we all enjoy. See you then.